Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. I am Ashley. I'm a homeschooling mom with 8 kiddos. Our oldest is a freshman, and that is who I am doing this video about today. I've done a lot of mom life videos recently, so I wanted to kind of switch it up and go back to homeschooling and something that I think is very important for the curriculum that one of the curriculums that he is using. He is using BJU Press Online. He is using that for science and for Spanish. I will link the video where I talk about what we have done a little bit to change things kind of at the course of the halfway mark, where I think it's worked a little bit better for him, what I mentioned in that video. So check that out if you have not already. But I wanted to do a video on how I have been tweaking BJU Press to help him move forward a little bit faster. It is no secret that BJU Press Online, I do not have experience in elementary and middle school for BJU. So this is strictly for, or online at least. So this is strictly for high school, but, and I don't have a whole lot of experience with high school either. This is our first year. So it is no secret that BJU is very thorough, and I mean very thorough. It is not just, just wing it kind of thing. With that being said, I do want him to be challenged. I do want him to get the most out of his curriculum, and for the price, you better be getting the most out of your curriculum. But at the same time, there are a lot of unnecessaries. Now, this is depending on where you live. In Texas, it is so lackadaisical for homeschooling. There are no requirements. There are no checkpoints. There are requirements as far as graduation, but there are no checkpoints. There are no testing anywhere in between there. There's no showing your work. There's no submitting grades. None of that. And so it can be an easy thing to kind of slide off the back burner if you're not careful and you're not diligent as it comes to high school. Now, what we have done for him, and what I have kind of learned, is that just like every curriculum, not everything is necessary, okay? Now, depending on your state, your lab curriculum requirements might be different. I have decided to approach it is, this year we are not doing physical labs. He was watching the labs, and just, which he is enjoying. But I have started to knock out some of the things that are overkill that we do not have to have. Pretty much what it has come down to is him watching the lesson. He will watch the labs if he has time, but he does not do the labs. He will watch the video, which is, depending on the lesson, 20-30 minutes, and he will keep watching the videos until it comes to a quiz. He will take the quiz, and he will keep going until he comes to a test, and he will take the test. Originally, we were doing all of the all of the work problems, all of the, like the workbook problems, all of the chapter questions, watching all of the labs, and I'm like, why can't I treat this like a actual physical and not an online curriculum? Why can I not treat it like I treat every other curriculum? And so then I tweaked it, and I said, okay, if you have time to watch the labs, great, because the labs are typically pretty short. They're like 10 or 11 minutes ish. If you have time to do that, great. If you don't have time to do that, don't, because we need to get you finished and it's not going to get finished if you do that. Now, yes, we have had some days where we've had to not do school that day, or not do that particular curriculum, or whatever the case may be, which is fine. I'm open to flexibility, and I know that not every day is going to be the same. However, he needs to catch up, and he has been catching up. And like I said, the other video, I explained a little bit more about what we've done to catch him up at that halfway mark. but tweaking it even further. And, saying, okay, in college, for example, a lot of professors only give like 2 tests. Sometimes they give a midterm and a final, and that's it. It doesn't matter unless there's a requirement in your state. It doesn't matter how many tests you have or how many grades or what your grades consist of. Whatever the professor and you as the professor, the teacher, want to use as grades to determine that final grade, you can do that. Again, unless your state requires you to have X amount of quizzes or X amount of tests or whatever. So instead of doing what we were doing and me grading everything, you can go in there and do skip. And so it basically just acts like it doesn't count against you if you skip it. It just acts like it wasn't there in the beginning. And so that is what we have done. So I will skip the labs, the actual labs, and the lab manual work. And he enjoys the labs, like I said, so he will do that if he has time, and if not, he'll skip it. He will watch the video to the lesson, take the quiz, and he'll do it typically that same day so that it stays fresh in his brain. And I'll say, okay, at the beginning of the day, I want you to watch this video, this lesson through this lesson. Get through and do the test. And if you need a day to study for the test, fine. If not, sometimes he's comfortable with it and he remembers the stuff and he's just like, no, let me just do it. And so he'll do it, and that's it. And your percentage, because you have a percentage online, your percentage starts to go up a lot quicker. And again, it's to each their own, because it's also dependent on your kid and what your state requirements are. But because we are not doing the physical lab this year, that's how I tweaked it, and it has worked a lot better. And so I think going into next year, because I have to start thinking of the curriculum and all of that, I'm going to look at my options, obviously, because if I'm doing that, and yes, I want him to do dissection and things like that in biology. As a side note, you can also get those kits elsewhere and do that on your own. So it's not something that you have to buy the kits. Now, if you want it to correspond with the curriculum, then yes. But if you're just interested in doing like dissection only, and that's all you're worried about, then you can get those kind of kits off Amazon, or you can get them other places where they're not as expensive. So tweaking the curriculum and maybe tweaking next year the lab situation and where I get that, because those lab kits are so expensive. Again, when your next kid comes along, all you have to do is kind of get the refill for it. But still, it is a lot. It is a lot. And I opted for the monthly payments, and that goes through May. So it's just an extra thing that kind of carries with you year to year. Now, yes, I have said a million times that high school curriculum is not cheap, because you have to have all the things. If you want to do the grades and you want to do have the teacher manual and all that stuff. But at the same time, don't hesitate to tweak what you need to, and skip what you need to if your state allows for that. And because we live in such a relaxed state, I can do that. And I could say, I just want to do one test and one final at the end. And those are your grades. But I'm not doing that. I'm just simply I'm skipping the things that we don't need. Not doing the lab manuals, not doing the extra questions, chapter questions and stuff. It was just overkill that we didn't need to do. And I, in my head, I said, if he knows the curriculum and he knows the work and he knows the information, then he'll do fine on the quiz. And that's all I'm worried about. I'm not worried about him writing the answers correctly. He either knows it or he doesn't. And so the quizzes will prove that, or the tests will prove that. And then going back and checking it, we will go over it and see if, there's anything else we need to go over. Also, with that being said, I have allowed him to retake a quiz. And what I will do is if it's a test, I have done a test also. On a test, I've said, okay, here are all the ones that you got wrong. Go back and redo it. Think about it. Go through it a little bit slower. and I will grade that one, which sometimes you're allowed to do in regular public school. So I'm okay with that. I want him to learn the curriculum. I'm not, just only about making sure that he gets done what he needs to get done. I just want him to learn the curriculum, because it's not going to do any good if he doesn't remember it, right? So there are so many ways that you can tweak curriculums. And I think BJU Press is a good example of that, because there is so much involved. But again, check your state requirements and make sure you're still following that if that's something that you have to do and your state requires, because there might be a case where you cannot tweak it. So anyway, let me know down below if you have any questions about BJU Press or high school curriculum. I'm mixing curriculum videos in here. I'm mixing mom life videos in here. It's just kind of a little bit of everything. So let me know if you have any video requests also that I can record for you guys as well. All right, guys, I will see you next time. Take care.